Hey there, good morning. How are you, everybody? Oh, wait, I forgot to put on my Beatrix necklace because y'all know need some power to do these lives. So good morning, everybody. I know it's 9 a.m. where I live and want to say good morning and, excuse me, just letting you know I'm popping on here because I want to talk about what I did and did not do to start a global movement, which I did do. I'm going to have to say, I'm going to just stand in my founderness and claim that back in 2015, I had this idea and I wanted to create something in my community that made a difference for people. Hi, everybody. If you're here, just say hi so I can see you. How do I share this? I guess I'm going to have to figure this out later. But, back in 2015, I started what was the Worldwide Women's Circle. And the original idea was that I wanted to bring community together and I wanted to make a difference. And it was at a time in my life where things really weren't actually going too well. I was having a lot of confusion. Hi, Kat. Good morning. I was having a lot of, back then, I can't say I have it all figured out yet. But back then, I had a lot of confusion around like what I wanted to do. And a little bit about me, my background is in the healing arts. I ran my own massage therapy, mentoring, energy healing business for probably, I've been studying for over 20 years. And I've had my own business doing this since 2006. But back then, I really wanted to get out of doing massage because my hands were just, and I was getting over rubbing hot oil on people. And I was kind of fed up with my life, which way it was going. I had no idea. So once I got to that place of just like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Well, what could I do? The magic and medicine started happening. So I'm curious for you, do you have something in your life that you're taking on? Do you have a vision in your, like a dream, a vision, an idea? It doesn't have to be a dream, right? It could be an idea that you have. If you do know what that is, then go ahead and pop that in the box. And it doesn't even matter if you're watching now or you're watching this later. I'm going to keep this quick. And then tomorrow, I'm going to share with you exactly the system that I did, that I created to build a worldwide movement I live in San Francisco. I live in a little bum boondock town called Half Moon Bay on the coast of San Francisco. So anyone can do this, no matter where you are. You don't even have to be in the United States. You could literally do this anywhere. If you have the idea and you have the vision for it, it means it's alive inside of you. Okay? So back then, I had this idea. I invited people to join me in 2015. It was International Women's Day, and it happened, right? I invited people, they said yes, and then it was like, whoa, this happened. This is done. This is what happened, is the women wanted more. And it was clear that we needed that, like, this was a thing. So I have some notes here. Here's what I did do. Wait, hold on. Here's what I didn't do. Okay? There were some people that I shared with about this idea that told me that it was not a good idea. That I was wasting my time, that I was wasting my energy. They didn't get it. Some people still don't get what it is we're doing, right? So what I stopped doing was I stopped listening to others. I stopped listening to other people. I stopped listening to my inner critic. Because, in leadership, I always say that when you do something that's outside of your comfort zone, your informant, your inner critic is going to come. In Sacred Badassery and the work that I do, we call it your informant. That's that inner critic voice, right? So I stopped listening to my inner critic. And what I did do was I started listening to myself. There was always that little voice that was like, yes, you could do this. Keep going. That voice was and is always there. And I still do this. I still allow other people to have their opinions, but I don't let that interfere in my decision-making process. So again, I stopped listening to others and I started listening to myself. What I didn't do was I didn't spend a ton of money on a website, on really anything. In fact, I got a logo from Fiverr. I used stock images. I actually, rather than focusing on building a community with a website, what I did do was I started sharing. I got into action and I started sharing with my community. And actually, it was the power of sharing that blew this project up. I gave myself to people. I love to talk to people, and I probably talked to maybe 400 or 500 circle leaders. Now, not all of them said yes, but they found us through one way or another and ended up saying yes or no, right? When you share or you make requests, not everyone is going to say yes to you, right? So what I did do was I got out of my own way. When you're sharing something that you've never done before, or it's brand new, or you're feeling like, I'm not sure I can do this, there's a vulnerability there, right? You have to put your looking bad at effect. You have to put failing at effect. You have to put yourself at risk. It really does take something to put this vision that you have or these ideas out there in the world of someone else, because they might tell you that it's a terrible idea, right? And you have to be able to face that, stand in the face of that and say, thank you very much for your opinion. And then go do whatever the hell you want to do. Because remember, number one was we stopped listening to others. Yeah, so I didn't spend a ton of money on a website. In fact, I didn't spend money on anything advertising until 2 years into the project, and we're going on 5 years. We're already in our 5th year. Next year we'll start our 6th year. What I didn't do was pretend I could do this all by myself. Literally, this would not be possible if it weren't for other people. And so I had to allow myself to ask for help and to be helped by others. Big one. How often do you just do the me, myself, and I game? Because you don't want to look bad, or you don't want to look vulnerable, or you don't want to look weak, or you don't want to look like you know what you have, or how do I say this? You don't want to look like you don't know what you're doing, right? Like, it's human to not know, especially if you're trailblazing. If you're trailblazing, you're not going to know. So what works is to share and get this out in community. Get it in with your people, right? Like, I would be traveling in Peru, right? In Peru a couple years ago for a Worldwide Women's Circle. And I would meet someone, and then they would get curious and they would say, so what do you do? And then I would put myself out there. Well, I started a global women's movement called the Worldwide Women's Circle. And they would be like, oh my God, that's so cool. I want to do that. When's your next date? And then they would sign up. This project only grew if I was sharing and the other leaders were sharing, right? Because other leaders, and it just happened. We have the global turn on, and Kristen, I'm not going to say any last names here. Kristen, who's a beloved, she signed up to lead a global turn on circle on October 27th. 2 days later, her friend, a woman that she went and sat in her women's circle, Jennifer, she signed up. Why? Because Kristen shared with Jennifer about October 27th. So I want you guys to trust sharing. Trust your ability to share with the right people at the right time. All this stuff is coming back to you. These visions that you have, these ideas that you have, they do not work if you play the me, myself, and I game. If you keep it all to yourself. You have to get out there in community. Get your idea out there in community. Put yourself at effect, right? Like, this might be a bad idea. You might fail. All of those things are real and possible, but you don't know until you try, right? Like, back in 2015, if I had known that what would happen was 4,000 women, men, and children would sit in circle over 4 years, and that I myself would be mentoring facilitators, I wouldn't have been so resistant to starting. But I'll tell you what, I was resistant because I was afraid, right? I was afraid that I was going to fail. I was afraid that I wasn't good enough. I was afraid that people were going to notice that I failed, that I fucked this thing up, excuse my language. And then it wasn't until I put my identity aside and I put all of those fears aside and got out into the world that all of this happened, right? Like, here I am doing the thing that I love. That wouldn't have happened if I didn't get out of my way. That wouldn't have happened if I had listened to every single person who told me that it wasn't a good idea, or that I needed a website before I started, or that I needed this and this and this and this and this. No, I had the pure connection to the creatrix of the world, Mother, and the universal support. There's power, there's support behind me. That's what keeps me going. I understand that this may be a vision of mine, but there is so much more to this. So, tomorrow, I'm going to share my... Thank you, Kat. Kat says, I'm so glad that you got out of the way. That's right. So tomorrow, I'm actually going to share the exact system that I used to create a global movement. It's going to be good. I'm going to be back here at 9 a.m. again. 9 a.m. And I want to invite you back. I'm going to be talking a lot in the next 2 months about how just in, this global event on October 27th is It's big. We're going for 100,000 watts of current, of power around the world. This is big work. We're utilizing the energetic ley lines of the world. We're maybe creating some new ones. I don't even know if that's possible. I'm just talking here. But these are ancient practices. And we're bringing them into the now, right? Every single person who participates, whether you're a circle leader, you're leading an event, or you're a guardian, you guys all matter to this. And I want to nurture you, right? So there's a couple things that how we're going to do that. One, I'm going to go live. 1, 2, I started actually today. I don't want to not talk about this. Today I started let's see, how do I say this? I'm dropping a program. Descend. It's called Descend. And what I realized in all of this is that if we don't give ourselves the space to drop into our creation, to sit in it, to understand our power, and like have this vision and let our power move through it, that we're never going to get anything done. That there's going to be women and men and children and people who are just walking around in this world saying, I had a good idea once. Yeah, fuck that. You have a good idea now. Let's nurture that. So Descend I'm actually never going to lead this live again. At least I don't think. I'm going to do a 12-week meeting on Wednesdays at 12. And it's going to be like literally you giving yourself the space to work on your project, work on your vision, let go of the things that need to be, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow on exact strategy, but letting go of the things that do not serve you right now. Like there's things you're doing that do not support this vision. We're going to identify those and understand them, and then get to work. And this is really in the world of feminine leadership. How we take feminine leadership, which is different from masculine leadership, but also needed. Masculine leadership is needed, and we will be bringing that in. That's why it's the global turn on. If you look at our logo, there's the stick, there's like the linear, right? Going into the bowl. The masculine and the feminine. Take a look so you can see what I'm talking about, right? So Kate says, great message. Thank you. Sharing my needs is so hard for me. Yes. See, this is true. And go share something. I love you. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So Descend is the place for you to take some space to bring your creation and your vision to life. I'm starting it next week on Wednesdays at 12. It's $297, which is like, boom, oh my God. And I can split it up into 2 payments of $150. If you pay in full, you will get a half an hour with me on the phone. So that's Descend. That's all I'm going to say about Descend. But I hope to see you next week, because this is good medicine that you need. So with that, I'm complete. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., actually every day at 9 a.m., if I can do it, I will be coming on and sharing a little bit about what it took to bring this global movement to life, and how feminine leadership in your own life can help put your visions into super drive. Super drive. I don't even know if that's a word, but I don't care. All right. So that's all I have to say. And with that, we are complete. Have a wonderful day.